Morning Bay with Good Morning Bay.
Get to know about the traffic away and what's news around the world today.
Some wisdom skills along the way.
Oh, and a song to hum along with and sway.
Get your perfect entertaining start to the day.
At 9 a.m. every weekday morning with
Mahima's
Good Morning Bay.
गुड मॉर्निंग बे आप सभी लोग हमारी तरफ से एक प्यार भरा नमस्ते नमस्कार वनक्कम खुशामदीद अस्सलाम वालेकुम सत श्री अकाल मी कंदरिकी वंदनमो जय स्वामीनारायण जय श्री कृष्णा जय जनेन्द्र एंड ऑफ कोर्स हमारे सारे इस्माइली भाई बंधु बोलेंगे या अली मदद एंड मुरली मदद बरजान वेलकम टू द सेकंड डे ऑफ इलेक्शन ड्रामा ड्रामा नहीं इज बिकम अ सागा बटजन सेकंड डे भी खत्म हो गया मतलब लेट मी पुट इट सेकंड डे आफ्टर पोस्ट इलेक्शन काउंटिंग का सेकंड डे है कल तो बहुत था एंड मेनी थिंग्स हैपेंड यस्टरडे इन फैक्ट यस्टरडे वी आल्सो गिव यू अ काउंट ऑफ हाउ काउंटिंग स्टार्टेड ऑफ पोल्स आर क्लोज्ड ऑफ कोर्स बट पोलिंग स्टेशन काउंटिंग द वोट एंड उसके लिए भी बहुत सारे प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही है एंड ऑफ कोर्स देयर इज नो क्लियर एज येट too close to call is what they're saying, but they claim Biden actually is going to be getting all the electoral votes. If he gets electoral votes, you guys know that he's the next incumbent president automatically. But President Trump is not taking it lying down. He actually is fighting it out. A lot of stuff coming up. We'll share some headlines with you guys as to what the lawsuits are going to be filed in this regard. In fact, Pennsylvania they actually went to the extent of actually even blocking the counting, saying that stop the counting, it's done because he already seemed to be a lead already, Donald Trump. But let's see what happens over there. But it also says that the courts don't have jurisdiction in this place they're trying to say. But उसके बारे में बातें करें थोड़ा और बातें करेंगे उसके बारे में लेकिन उससे पहले let me tell you it is 233rd day of sheltering in place. That's right, 233 days of sheltering home. And yes, it's still a grim situation. We don't have a vaccine in sight, and people actually are kind of getting affected. In fact, 49ers actually had to call off, had to seal off the system because one of their actually got affected with COVID. So all that is happening just very close to home. But right now, let's see what's happening with the traffic around us. And this is our traffic update called Raste Ka Haal Total Saste Mein.
It's time for the Bandu Traffic Update. Call us from wherever you are at 408-912-2479.
That's right, Banjo. Wherever you are, give us a call here and share with us what's happening on the roads. If at all I miss out any of those things. Start with a disabled vehicle which is 580 southbound, south of Dixon Landing, or the off-ramp is affected there. It's not a huge delay on traffic delay there. For that... But 880 seems to be clear all the way. It is a COVID situation right now, Banjan. As you know, COVID situation, the traffic is always light. Now, this morning we saw some nice fog around Milpitas also. All over the area, actually, there's a fog, and now there's also fog on 101 northbound at Golden Gate Bridge. So, watch out, drive very carefully. Visibility is very low in that region. So, abhi bhi wahan pe fog hai. You have to make sure you can drive safely there. And of course, speaking of the bridge, 84 also has reported some fog in that area. So Bay ke paas bahut sara fog hai. Not only election foggy, even the Bay area is foggy. And let's see, that was your update on traffic. Quick look at what the weather is like today. It's going to be sunny today, Banjan. Yeah, I'd say cloudy. No, cloudy, but there's not much of clouds right now. It's clearing up. It seems like 60s, but it'll go probably in the 80s. Yeah. Yakin nahi hota na, it's actually a fall season. It's actually going to be 80, but it's going to be pretty hot also. So probably if you're layering up, you might want to take off one layer, I guess. If you're going to stay at home, stay warm, stay pleasant, stay healthy. That's very important. Today being Thursday, it's actually one more day before the weekend. And as you know, November aa gaya, so people start planning for the Thanksgiving weekend, I suppose. It's going to be in 21st, I suppose, right, Faltwani? Welcome. How are you doing, Faltwani?
Doing really well.
You seem really stressed out, Faltwani. I don't even ask you what's stressing you.
Not stressed out. It's just
I know you are frustrated. Something is there. Something is totally like irking you, like, oh, really, all the stuff, right?
I am just thinking about how sore losers never ever sort of admit to their own fault and then just keep going after everybody else and spread conspiracies.
That's
now,
true.
Who's the sore loser? Let's that's up to conjecture. And who's the person who is inciting hatred and is intimidating the people, the wonderful people of this country, who are going out there and doing their civic duty and are volunteering, spending day and night to those ballots?
Yeah.
and to intimidate those people with the so-called watchers who are armed. Way.
The militia, Banajan.
Yeah.
Hey, see, the thing is, Faltoni, the votes have been, right?
Yeah.
It's the votes have been cast. My point would have been, had the true colors seen by people before. People called it. People actually called and said, like, okay, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? They said this and was told clearly. Why? Forget political analysts, chodiye, right? People who are psychologists talked about his nature when he got it in 2016. Somehow, I still can't fathom. It's still difficult for me to swallow the fact that it's happened, of course, to 68.1, right? Faltoni, the number was, am I right with the numbers?
68.1 million.
Yeah, 68.1 million Americans chose him
Yeah.
as their president.
Yeah.
That really is difficult for me. That's a very hard thing for me to think, because how do you? The question comes up, Faltoni. What can you? It doesn't make sense to us.
Yeah.
But how do you appeal to them? What can you tell them?
Well, here is the thing. I've been talking to different people all across, the spectrum, so to speak. People who voted for Trump, people who refused to vote because they didn't think Biden or Trump were candidates, and some people who voted for Biden because they just didn't want Trump in office. Some people who totally believed in Biden and the fact that he will lead us out of this mess. What came across, what screamed at me was the absolute nonchalance of the Trump voters, especially voters, to is as crucial and important as the Black Lives Matter movement. They're like, who cares? He's good. And they say, we want somebody who will protect capitalism versus Joe Biden's socialism. So, where is Joe Biden? What is socialist about Joe Biden? Oh, he's moving towards socialism. I heard this on national, was it TV or radio? I think it was on the radio. I heard it yesterday, where this person says capitalism. So the person asked, do you know what capitalism, what capitalistic agenda does Trump tout that are supporting him? He gave us tax cuts. And absolutely no idea what capitalism is, but just that balderdash that has been fed into people's heads. It's not socialism if you are taking care of the people of this nation. Technically, we are out of a partial welfare state because we do provide maintain, but we don't do what is more important, which is provide health insurance for people. We do not provide free college education, which is provided in countries like in advanced developed countries. We do not provide half of these things. Even the public is assisted by taxpayer dollars, and it's not necessary up to the mark, the best system. So anyway, I was just that was what was screaming, and they're like, we don't really like him, but it's just the fact that he is he understands our pain. What pain? He just stands there and yells expletives. So I mean, anyway, it was just appalling to see how little they know, but then they think that just because somebody's they're angry about their situation.
Anyway, you're right, Faltoni. I can see the whole thing. You second poll, appalling.
Appalling. Oh my God, you're going to pun
Yeah,
them.
but I have to pun on them because, come on, we got to make sure we can actually find some light in this, right? Well, okay, but do not worry or fret about it because we are keeping a close eye on it. Okay, let me put it. There is electoral votes which are close to, Biden seems to be getting most of it. 264 electoral votes already are in favor of Joe Biden, which means 270 votes will make him the president, right? And Democrats will get the White House. But again, are they going to get the House? That is still questionable because the House seems split. There is a huge... Democrats still need around 10 seats to get House. There are many more seats up for... what do you call that? Up for grab, actually. Unfortunately, a sad point is Republicans actually gained 6 in the House. Yes, Panja, they gained 6 seats. Democrats lost 5 seats. Now you must think about it. Why is that happening? Why is Democrats losing seats in the House? That's also you got to watch out, right?
Yeah.
And second thing is, let's see in terms of the Republicans in the House, in the Senate. Republicans actually gained a particular seat, but Republicans lost a seat. But of course, Democrats won a seat. But the difference is like 46-48. They still need to get around, 51. So 5 more for Democrats to be able to control the Senate. We'll talk about all those things.
Not really, Altaba, but that's not an accurate count. I think I don't know. Maybe it's because every news network it differently, right? So right now they're supposedly evenly matched, 48-40, but they're saying that the Democrats, there's only 4 more seats that are thing, and they're saying that Democrats have pretty much lost their chances at sealing a majority in the Senate.
Okay, well done. So here's the thing. So I want to one disclaimer to everybody out there. Whatever we're giving you data, stats are actually something which is sourced from a press. And even there are multiple people actually giving out these numbers. It's not just Associated Press. There is Reuters. There's the McDonald's Foundation also doing it. So all those things people are doing these kind of things. McDonald's, I think, is working with Berkeley or something like that, or is it McDonald's and Reuters are doing it together also? So even every news source, CNN, they have their own polls. So basically, most of them are just reporting whatever their information. The final result is going to be something which you got to look for. Which will come from the election commission, I suppose. We'll talk about that as well, and that's when they decide who the hunters are, how many seats actually have gone on. But what we're hearing right now is something which we are getting from these different sources. So probably whatever Faltani is checking is different, whatever I'm checking is different. So make sure we have a check balance here as well, Banujan. So as of now, of course, any news on the electorals? Has anything? Has Biden gained anything in the electorals?
No, it's still too close to call. Nobody has been to determine anything. Right now, what's going on is in a divided United States, Biden inching closer to victory as Trump is pursuing legislation. Democrat Joe Biden on Thursday, as election officials tallied votes in the handful of states that will decide the outcome, and the Republican president has been pursuing a election strategy. Trump, who during the long and rancorous campaign attacked the integrity of the U.S. voting system, has alleged voter fraud without providing evidence, filed lawsuits, and called for at least one state recount. Just before this news broadcast that we're doing right now, Banujan, Trump administration, the Trump campaign announced that they're going to file a lawsuit in Nevada saying that dead people voted for Biden or dead people have been ballots have been cast in dead people's name, and they're going to challenge that as well. The other thing that I do want to tell you is that ballot counting, the counting of mail-in ballots. By the way, in Pennsylvania, Banujan, mail-in ballot can be mailed even as of the day of, like 7 or 7 p.m. of the day of the election. And obviously, but for it to come in, and they give time for ballots to come in, and this has been going on for several years, as long as it's postmarked by election day, right? But what has happened right now is Trump has been challenging it because he is losing ground, and Democrat Joe Biden has made up significant ground, and there's so many, and the biggest county, which is Philadelphia, right? So mostly black African American vote that's coming in from there. Those are mail-in ballots, and everybody's saying that that's a Democratic stronghold. So Trump doesn't want that to be counted. And what they've done right now is the counting of the mail-in ballots in Philadelphia has been temporarily halted as Democrats ask a state top court to reverse a lower court ruling on ballot count, observes apparently, according to the MSNBC. Now, a judge in Philadelphia, a judge on Wednesday, appeared skeptical of the arguments by Republican officials seeking to stop suburban Philadelphia County from counting these mail-in and absentee ballots those had been permitted to correct. U.S. District Judge Timothy Savage in Philadelphia challenged the plaintiff's lawyer on whether Montgomery County election officials violated the U.S. Constitution or state law by trying to ensure voters would not be disenfranchised. And he said, we don't know how the end of this election was affected. And he said, I want to know. That's what I want to know. And basically, this is a matter that really needs a lot of attention, Manjan, because this is voter enfranchisement. They were expecting to get more than, I think, 450,000 votes from there. So that is another huge thing that the news that broke that has stopped as of now.
And I think if they don't allow the counting to happen,
Yeah.
it actually amounts to disenfranchisement, of course, and also it's kind of voter suppression.
It is voter
That's what disenfranchisement. When you are taking out the franchise for people to vote and have a say in the matter.
Exactly.
That's what's happening over there. But let's see what happens. You know, we got to be.
And the other reason also, Altababa, is if Pennsylvania results come right, Biden has won the election.
Why Pennsylvania? Nevada comes, gets 6 votes, he's already there. He's won the election.
Yeah, because it's 20 electoral votes, and right now he's at 253, 20 without Arizona being attributed to him yet. and he can directly 20 electoral votes would mean that Biden goes to 273.
Well, actually,
So-
my data which comes up is he has around 264 already with him.
That's according to Fox News, who have attributed, and AP also has attributed Arizona to him.
Yeah,
That's
I
why.
am not referring news channels data, but directly referring to the source, which actually releases based on what they have on at ground zero. Suppose
Have they claimed Arizona for him?
they have cleared Arizona for Biden, but that's a question mark right now, right? Isn't that
But,
isn't that contested?
It's being contested because of the fact that the counting is not complete in Arizona yet. Yesterday in Maricopa County, that's what I was trying to follow last night to see what exactly was happening, because CNN also has not called it. Because the last-minute ballots that came in Maricopa County apparently turned out to Republican for Trump, and Trump, and that's why the Trump campaign kept no, just make sure that that you keep you call Arizona, and they were very angry with Fox and the AP for calling Arizona for
because
Biden.
I think there is in Arizona, of course, Phoenix is not reported as yet. Phoenix is leaning towards, then the other three counties actually are leaning towards Biden.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm sorry, man. It actually is Phoenix is leaning towards Biden, that is Democrats, and other three counties are leaning towards Republicans, where they're trying to see, because Tucson came up for Biden, right?
Yeah. Well, there's not a lot of votes pending from there. I think there's about how many 78,000 votes or something, ballots that needed to be counted there. But last night, but anyway, we're not going to see results until later tonight, apparently, from Arizona. They halted providing updates to the networks as of, I think, at 2 a.m. last night.
Yeah, they still have 1/3 of the votes to be counted still. So 88% is only being counted so far.
Yeah.
And I think some of them are going to take their own time to send out the information. That's fine. I think they should give them to actually decide what they want to do.
Exactly. In the meanwhile, Biden's campaign manager, Jen O'Malley Dillon, said on Thursday that it may take time to see full voting results in Arizona. The margin in the state may tighten. Now Biden a narrow lead over President Trump. The Trump campaign, on the other hand, said today that they expect to launch additional action in Pennsylvania and Nevada, and predicted that the Republican incumbent would emerge victorious in the U.S. election by as early as Friday evening. Trump campaign manager Bill Stepien told reporters on a conference call that Trump was alive and well with regard to the presidential race. Campaign advisor said he expected action in Pennsylvania to ensure visibility on previous ballots that have been counted in that particular state. Now, the big challenges that they're trying to mount are in Wisconsin. They're demanding a recount. They're demanding a recount in Michigan. I'll tell you what some of the rules for recounts are. They also asked a judge in Georgia to order late arriving ballots to be separated and secured so that they should not be below is a roundup of the recount laws put together by Reuters. In Arizona, automatic recount, yes. Recount law, the recount is triggered when the margin of victory between the two candidates is less than 0.1 percentage point. Then there is no deadline for a recount in Arizona. Who pays for this? Costs money, right? Depending on the race, automatic recounts are paid for by the state, county, or town, which means the taxpayers end up paying for it.
Which means state can actually not even pay and not do it also.
Yeah.
I look at it that way.
Yeah.
There's always a loophole for these things.
In Georgia, no automatic recount law. A candidate can request a recount if the margin of victory is less than or equal to a 0.5 percentage point. Deadline, a recount must be requested within 2 business days have been signed. A state law does not specify who is responsible for recount costs. In Michigan, automatic recount, yes, it is allowed. A recount is required if the margin of victory less than or equal to 2,000 votes. A deadline request for recount should be made within 48 hours of the vote canvass. Who pays? The candidate requesting the recount. So you have to pay upfront in Michigan. In Nevada, is there an automatic recount? No. Recount law, a candidate who has been defeated can request a recount, regardless of the margin of victory. And deadline, a recount must be requested within business days after the state's vote canvass. And who pays? The candidate asking for the recount. In North Carolina, they do offer an automatic recount. A recount can be initiated if the margin of victory is less than or equal to 1 percentage point. For this, the deadline there is that 12 p.m. on the second business day after the vote. They don't specify who pays. In Pennsylvania, also it allows an automatic recount if the victory is less than or equal to 0.5 percentage point. If Trump is 50.5 and Biden is 50, they can request a recount. And the deadline is 5 p.m. by the second Thursday following the election, and the candidate requesting the recount. Trump is going to pay a lot of this. And where is the money coming from?
People's money. You buy the Trump ties, the Trump mugs, the Trump t-shirt,
Get your MAGA
the MAGA red
stuff.
caps.
Yeah, go fund his recounts.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, automatic recount? No. A recount law, it can be requested if there's a margin of victory which is less than or equal to 1 percentage point. And the request must be made by 5 p.m. business day after the votes canvass. And then, of course, the candidate requesting the recount, if the margin is more than a quarter percentage point, has to pay for the recount. So those are some of the recount laws. And in cities across the U.S., one disturbing trend that we see, dueling protests mounting up as vote counting drags on. A second day of sometimes dueling demonstrations over the integrity of the U.S. presidential election started early in Philadelphia and other cities as ballot counting dragged on in a handful of states that would decide the outcome. Support of Joe Biden rallied around the slogan, "Count every vote," leaving a complete tally which showed the Democratic former vice president had beaten Donald Trump. Trump backers have countered with cries of "protect the vote" in support of his campaign's efforts to have some categories of ballots, including submitted by mail, discarded. Yeah, it's really sad. In fact, yesterday in Georgia, they had to halt counting Altu because of the fact that things were got really out of hand, especially in Maricopa County, because Trump, poll watchers bombed the building and went inside. And so nobody knows whether there was anything that was compromised in that location. They don't assume so, but then they had to bring security in, and they sealed off the building, even and everybody apparently. But also one good thing is that while President Trump wants U.S. Supreme Court to decide the outcome of this election, they may not be the people who have the final say. And you can go look it up on mima.com. Amos Banajan, what news that's coming out? In the light of all this election fervor, people have forgotten about COVID-19. The United States set a new record for increase in COVID-19 this day of the election, with at least 102,591 new infections, and as hospitals in several states reported a rising tide of patients, according to a Reuters rally. 9 states reported record one-day increases: Colorado, Idaho, Indiana, Michigan, Minnesota, Rhode Island, Washington, and Wisconsin. And the pandemic affected nearly every aspect of American life, including the polls, and that's why people sent in mail-in ballots. And to challenge that, it amounts to actually undermining the constitutional right guaranteed to every American citizen. We want you to think about that. In the meanwhile, let's tell you that we do have news from India that we're posting. China has temporarily banned all Indians from entering their country, citing concerns, but everybody knows that it's because, well, anyway, we don't want to conjecture at this point. You can actually read up on that story. And then there's also some news coming out, a social media battle that has erupted after Arnab Goswami's arrest, and Twitterati are citing #karma. So if you want to catch up on all these news stories, Banjan, go to mediamahima.com. Back tonight live at 5 on the Pam Pam Show. Have yourselves a terrific day.